Hello, hello. It has been a while since I came online. I've been traveling around. I'm currently in Brighton, and I'll be in Brighton again next week, and then I think it's London. I have missed coming online actually, and I keep meaning to, and it falls behind all the tasks. So today I would like to talk about my AuraTransformation journey in the spirit of supporting my colleagues who I've been running a 7-day visibility challenge, which the people that are trained in AuraTransformation, they're called Aura mediators, and they've maybe felt like, oh my God, I don't want to write on my social media, or I don't want to do a video, or like, you know, just the terrifying idea of becoming more visible online in whatever you do. And that can, you know, have a lot of powerful effects on people. You know, your legs can go weak, your mouth it goes dry, your throat closes up. And I know that was the same for me a couple of years ago before I started doing videos. And now it feels quite natural and easy because I've, you know, you practice it. But anyway, so I've been running this 7-day challenge with the Aura mediators that are from all over the world, actually. If there's a couple in Sweden, there's an American, there's some, well, there's the UK ones, there's a French one. So it's been absolutely beautiful and powerful. And what's happened is that over the week, all of them have started posting videos or actually going live in the group for the first time ever and sharing their story about Aura transformation and what happened for them and what happened to like what they got from training as an Aura mediator. And it's, you know, it's sad to feel the, you know, how stuck you can feel when you're terrified of going online, or you're, you know, you don't know how to talk about your work, or you don't want to appear like you're selling, or all that. So, you know, all this passion and all the benefits that they receive from Aura transformation are kind of trapped with them. And I hope that that challenge is really going to help people feel more comfortable sharing this magic with others. And so I can see a couple of people here from the challenge. And so I'm going live too, because I can't run a visibility challenge and not do it myself. So I have made plenty of videos actually about my story of Aura transformation, but I also know that I've probably got about 500 to 1,000 more new friends on social media that probably don't know anything about me. So my name's Sarah Jennings. I had my Aura transformation, it must be 2000, that's like 5 years ago. And I trained very quickly after. Like 2 months afterwards, and now I'm nearing the end of my training as the UK, France, Swiss, and South African instructor, because I am so passionate about this work, and it had such a powerful effect on me that I just knew it was something that I would want to share with others. And I do feel that it is such a gift, but it's not the easiest thing to talk about. It's often the role of an Aura mediator is kind of an educational role, or, you know, having to kind of explain what it's all about, because it does sound out there and it does sound overly spiritual, when I actually don't think it. I mean, it has spiritual theory and concepts, but the effects are humongously grounding and just really allowing you to land on earth in a way that you feel comfortable in your body, comfortable in your skin, like you have sovereignty of your energy, and just makes life so much easier down here. So actually, it does sound out there and spiritual, but it's the opposite in its effects. So a little bit about me before my Aura transformation. It's almost becoming difficult to really remember how it felt to be me 6, 10, 12 years ago. I've always worked very hard, but also played very hard. And I think what I did over time was completely obliterate my energetic protection. What that meant was that anything that could have been like a weakness in my system, such as certain ancestral patterns that have been passed down, that might have just passed, you know, you could have just lived with them mildly in your system. But if you have no energy protection, they can have a much louder mouthpiece in your system. So not only did I have, I think what's happened is that I had no protection. And because I was experimenting on the side with like magic and tarot and energy and healing stuff, but then working like my I wouldn't say corporate, but like charity work and funding work and development education and shop managing, all sorts of jobs, like proper jobs. I was doing that on like my 3D time, and then I was experimenting in my spare time with all this energy and magic, and then partying really hard on the weekends for too many years and for too long. And this, you know, basically meant I was burning the candle at every end possible. And I just knew I wasn't doing the right things, and I wasn't doing the right things with the right people. And my jobs were not what I was supposed to be doing, and I knew that deep down. So just having to live in that way, it also meant that I was left wide open. I think this deteriorating energy field, although basically I blew it off, I think. I don't think there was anything left of my protection, left me wide open to all sorts of energies, other people's thoughts, other people's feelings, but also much darker energies that I haven't often talked about on social media. But, you know, I was basically having nightly nightmares, visitations in my bedroom, out-of-body experiences. Almost every time I closed my eyes, I would be having an astral projection of some kind. And that can be pleasant and nice when you're flying around and looking at fields and seeing things that, you know, that are probably actually there. I actually did have experiences where I would be out of my body, asleep, but awake in the dream, and flying over towns and villages, and then the following days or weeks visiting those places and going like, oh, there's a letterbox around, you know, there's like a phone box around this corner, there's a field of poppies around that, after that that bend, and lo and behold, all those things that I'd seen in the dream space were actually real things. So I was actually out of my body, and I started realizing that it was exciting and fun at first, but then I started meeting other kinds of energies in that plane. And what it meant for me, like the way I survived it, was I realized that it was part of my initiation and learning to be a healer, or to stand in my power, to reclaim my energy. It meant I had to fight for it. And I would end up having these like astral battles. I do not recommend it. It feels dangerous and very scary. But it was like all I could do. It was like either surrender and be from raped, attacked, or things trying to actually siphon and plug into me, siphon my energy, or fight, or learn how to kind of laugh in the face of the fear and danger and regain some kind of power over these entities. So lots of weird stuff was happening to me before my aura transformation, and it got to the point where I was like, something needs to change. This isn't actually fun anymore. I'm completely compromised. And when there is things plugging into you, they affect your behaviors, your desires, your needs. It almost like makes you feel like you're doing things and you're like, why on earth am I doing this? So that my story is quite extreme. But pretty much everything I've ever done is quite extreme. So, you know, I'm not suggesting that this is happening to everyone all the time, but there are all sorts of energies that plug into people's energy fields that aren't necessarily malevolent, or, you know, but there's like the collective program of I'm not good enough, or the big societal energy of porn, for example, siphoning people's energy. All these are kind of like entities. So it doesn't have to be like some strange alien thing that's attached to you, but it can be these big forces that are pushing and pulling our energy, desires, and harvesting energy and all that kind of thing. So there's a lot going on with our energy fields that we might not all be aware of. And I just it happened to just be something I could see and feel and had to navigate. So I did learn a lot from the experience, in that I did regain my power and a sense of self that was really powerful, but it didn't mean that I was better and that my energy field was rebuilt. I still had no energy field. So it was getting weird for me. But in my everyday life, my relationships were often destructive. I was hanging around with some beautiful people that are still friends, but a lot of other people, more peripheral, that didn't have my best interest at heart. You know, I was in the party scene and people just want you to join them in the party scene. They don't really care about your growth and where you're going to go with your life and all that kind of thing. So it was kind of like having to break out of that world as well, and I knew it. So there was also deep self-loathing and lots of, maybe the self-loathing wasn't as deep as I thought, but it felt like deep self-loathing. But I realized that a lot of my negative thought patterns, I realized were ancestral, kind of passed down imprints, like just, oh, I'm never going to succeed, you know, I'm a failed artist, I'm this sort of energy that actually a lot of women probably feel in their systems, just because the thousands of years of women having been oppressed in their own family line. Anyway, I didn't expect to say any of this, as per usual. But so I was having all the negative thought patterns, self-loathing, destructive relationships, drugs and alcohol, even road rage and things like that. And I realized, you know, just through my exploring, reading around consciousness and energy, that in some way or form, I was attracting these relationships, and I was attracting, I was attracting situations and drama and more uncomfortableness and more paranoia in the way I was living my life. So I realized something had to shift, and the shift was going to have to happen with me. I couldn't blame anyone else for like the life I'd created, but it did feel like a breaking point of like, oh my gosh, I failed myself. Like my energy is so downhill now. I don't even know if I have the energy to change myself, but I just knew I had to do something for myself and, you know, for my daughter, because I wasn't even happy about the way I was able to parent because I had so little energy left. So I actually started exploring all of this on my own. I'd fallen down the stairs. That was the big wake-up call, was falling down the stairs the last time I ever touched any substances. And I literally almost crippled myself, and I could have died. I landed on my chin, and I tried to carry on going to work after that. And I just, eventually it got worse and worse and worse. And I couldn't even move my neck or head properly. And that falling down the stairs was a blessing, really, because it was the wake-up call that I really needed to say, you know, you need to change, and if you don't do it now, that's it. And there was also a deep calling within me. I knew that there was something I was supposed to be doing, this, and helping and being in service and using my gifts, and my deep remembering that I had these gifts from many lifetimes, I imagine. So I fell down the stairs and had 9 months. I was signed off work completely because I couldn't do my job. And those 9 months were like a rebirthing of myself. I really I became like a hermit and shut myself away. And I had a journal, and every single day I was writing like a stream of consciousness of everything that was in my head, and then looking at it and being like, oh my gosh, you know, like, where's this come from? And it was just, and I had to learn to forgive myself, and I had to learn to face all of the actions I had made, and also really confront things that had happened to me that weren't always particularly nice. And I started to have to own all of those emotions. It was like going on an emotional, like tasting session, you know, like really examining every area of my life, every relationship, every interaction, everything I was ashamed of or felt guilty for, any time I had spoken meanly, or any time I had hurt others, or everything was on the table. And I sat there and I would cry about each one, or try and find the way through and out. So a lot happened in those 9 months, which I'm very proud of. And it really, you know, made me who I am today on some level. And I just thought, you know, I'm not going to wait till I die to have a life review and see all my life in front of my eyes and then learn what I'm going to have to learn next time. I'm going to learn it right now, and I'm not wasting any more time. So I just got on with it. And it was very powerful. People around me were like, what are you doing? You know, they were actually kind of worried for me. And I just said, I don't know, but I have to do it. And I thought I'd never stop crying. It was like classic Dark Night of the Soul. And once those 9 months were complete, I knew that I could never go back to the work I was doing in the Oxfam charity work. I had to follow and pursue the healing work. And I wasn't sure how I was going to do that. And I was practicing healing on people, but then realized that I was picking up everyone's stuff after putting my hands on. So I didn't really understand protection, but I didn't have any energy protection. So everything was just piling in from other people's stuff. And then when they left, I was still feeling it all, and it was confusing and not very comfortable. And so I realized that I did have a skill of like absorbing other people's stuff in a way, and sending them off. But then that wasn't quite right either, because then I wasn't feeling well myself. So I knew that there was something not right there. So I had no energy protection. And that as well meant that every single day I was working very hard to build a temporary energy field, like whether it was through the way I was eating or meditating or exercise. I was just trying to, anything I could do to feel strong. I was doing Reiki self-practice on myself at the time, but it would get to a point that by halfway through the day, it was all gone again, and I'd have to start again and be like, oh, excuse me, I'll be back in 15 minutes and do some energy work. And it just wasn't very, it's just not a sustainable way of living, having to rebuild your aura every day. So, and I know that there's lots and lots and lots of people that are having to do that kind of thing every day. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining. I am literally rambling away about my story. So having a temporary aura structure is hard work. And I know that a lot of people suffer with that. And it's not normal, and it doesn't have to be that way. And so I realized at the end of these 9 months that I was doing good emotional work and becoming a person I actually liked, and I could look at myself in the mirror, and it was a good feeling. But there was still negative thought patterns. So here's me feeling good about myself, and I'd actually identified and could feel and separate myself from these thought patterns going on and on and on. And I'd written them all down, and I realized that's when I realized that somehow these weren't really mine. And I figured out that they were the ancestral imprint, thousands of years of people in my family that probably had hard times for different reasons. Or anyway, there was that. And I also found that I had I'd worked on forgiving myself, but I was very much struggling to forgive others. And it was almost like all the pain in my life and in the stories that I'd experienced, they record themselves in your energy field. Like, you carry your stories in your energy. You carry the emotional signatures that you have in your energy field, and people feel them, maybe not consciously, but that's what they're feeling when they're near you. And I'd had quite a lot of difficult situations and stories to overcome. And part of my mission for myself was to be able to forgive people so that I didn't have to carry that pain with me any longer. It didn't make sense to have it on my back like that. But it was a real struggle, and I tried everything. So I was frustrated that no matter how hard I was working on my spiritual development and growth and freedom of self, and to free the love in myself, was I couldn't get rid of this anger and rage a few people in my stories. And so I realized at this point that anger or rage or hurt was recorded in my energy field and would be triggered and light up, and like I would see red or purple even with all this work. And I realized from this exploring is that PTSD, or post-traumatic stress disorder, and triggers and traumas are not only recorded in the body, but they're also recorded in the energy field. And I was living within those triggers, and we're kind of boxed in by them, and they go off and we're trapped in them. And it doesn't mean that I don't get triggered now, it just means that I'm able to identify it and work with it in a different way. And the magic of having an aura transformation is that we're dissolving all these layers. We're dissolving all the recorded information that's like hanging out in the energy field, and the ancestral imprints are unplugged. And so it doesn't mean you don't feel those things. It just means you're not in the box of them. You can look at them like memories or postcards on the wall, but not like be in a cage with them. So anyway, I realized at this point that there's a bunch of stuff happening to me that I can't fix on my own. I can't rebuild my own aura. It probably take me 25 years of diligence and puritanical activity, and it wasn't happening quick enough. And I knew that I was just going to become more depleted over time, more frustrated. And so that was a big one. And I'd identified all these negative thought patterns, but I didn't know how to get rid of them. They were just there, even if I was aware that they weren't mine, if that makes sense. I also knew that I was trapped within kind of trauma and negative experiences and couldn't free myself and couldn't find that forgiveness somehow. And I also did still feel like something is missing. I felt kind of like magical and like can see energy and connected to all this energy world and actually can see it and experience really magical things, but not really having my feet on the ground. So I wasn't really away with the fairies completely, but getting there. I'm just checking if there's anything else. Oh, yeah, just having no protection meant walking through the streets, I would be feeling people's thoughts and being like, whoa, you know, like I was in a good mood and now I'm in his mood. And it was just too much. So I heard at this point, I was like, I asked some powerful questions. I was asking lots of people, but also just to the universe, like, okay, where are the real wizards? Where is the real healing and magic? What's after Reiki? Because that's not working for me anymore. It's not fixing the aura. It makes me feel a bit better, builds a bit of protection for the day, but it doesn't last. And it had done what it could for me, and I knew that. So I was like seeking, you know, where is the, you know, the magic schools, and there must be something that can rebuild an aura, and there must be ways of, yeah, just moving exponentially forward, because it felt like I'd plateaued. And then like within a week I heard about aura transformation, and I was like all over shivers. I know that that's what I need to do. That's what I will be doing for the rest of my life, that kind of thing. It was like bang. So I felt really grateful for that. And I did get a bit confused by the language, and like I was like, crystal children. I'm like, oh shush, I don't want to talk about the children. I want to find out about what's going on with my energy. But it made a lot more sense once I'd read more into it and experienced it for myself, was that I was adopting. Having an AT means that you are dissolving what we call the old aura and integrating this crystalline aura structure, which the children have come with. And that's where it's kind of modeled from. And that made sense to understand who the crystal children are, because we're going to adopt the traits and the frequencies of these children. So it did make sense eventually, but yeah, at first I was a bit puzzled. But I had the aura transformation, and like many people said in the challenge that I've been running, just for people that hopped on later, I am running a 7-day visibility challenge for aura mediators, and we're hearing all of each other's stories, and people are posting videos about the benefits they've had since they had their AT, and it is life-changing and life-saving and life-affirming, and you find so much peace and joy and love for your own life and love for yourself, and a completely new perspective on your own story and that of others. So it's been very inspiring and heartwarming to be in that group. And and a lot of them said they couldn't quite remember exactly what happened in their aura transformation, except that it was a beautiful moment in time. But that isn't, the aura transformation isn't the magic of having an aura transformation. That's just like the thing you do to press the on button on a much longer process. And, you know, 5 years down the line, I'm still feeling the benefits. I know that people look at me like they can still see that I have the crystalline aura, you know. I know it's still working on a very deep level within me. There isn't like what we call crystallizing. So the first 9 months to a year and a half after your aura transformation, we're crystallizing. So things can be pretty in the air. Some people have a hard time with it because there's so much that needs to come up and be cleared. And we're not just going to wipe you clean and send you off and then that's it. You didn't learn anything, but you're shiny. That's not how it works. Becoming more in yourself and like more aligned with your true self and becoming whole, or clearing trauma, all this stuff is work. And what aura transformation offers you is like a kind of like a fast track and a helping hand to get there. So you still have to do your work, and you still have to really kind of let the mind and the body understand that all this is happening, so that you can really let go of the stuff that was stuck all that time. So for me, within hours, I was like, wow, something big's happening. And it's kind of hard to know exactly what, because you're kind of trying to look at yourself and like, do I really have a new aura? Like, is this a joke? But you could feel something pretty big's happening. I had like 4 or 5 people trying to talk to me on the London Underground at the same time, which was very weird because that never happens if you've been to London. It was just like a lot of that kind of thing. I remember riding home on the train because I lived up north in England, and just realizing that there was no more negative thought patterns. That incessant wheel of talking was just like not there, which is actually a bit strange. You're like, oh, it's quiet. And then after that, with the first few weeks of sleep, I realized there's no more nighttime visitations, there's no more night rapings, there's no more astral fighting going on, none of that. And there was a part of me that was like, oh, that's like bit boring, like where's all the excitement going to come from? But I soon started really, really appreciating and loving the feeling of being balanced and on a level, and not swinging up and down in like your behaviors, and you're feeling great one day and then not so good for a week, or all that kind of up and downness of being in the old energy field, certainly when it's got no protection. There was no more up and down. I mean, obviously there's little ups and downs, but you know how to deal with it much faster. So for me, it was like, oh, wow, this is like really a beautiful feeling of just being really happy in my own skin, not having like all this noise, and also being able to walk down the street and carry my vibration and not pick up everyone else's, like, like a lint ball thing. And it's just been an absolutely incredible journey. And it had such a huge impact on my daughter's life, on my family's life, on my relationships and friendships. And it gave me such a deep sense of self-worth and belonging, and being grounded on earth and having the energy to follow my dreams and passions. It was just like everything clicked into place really quick. And maybe that doesn't happen to everyone because they really don't know where they want to go. And maybe that isn't their job to find the thing that they're supposed to do. Maybe they're just supposed to be a family person, or, don't put yourself under pressure to find this purpose. I was just really lucky that this happens to be it, and it made sense. But the amount of fire and drive and passion that I knew I had in me, it's not like it gave it to me, it was like in my body. All of that was channeled like crazy into my work and into my daughter. And I rebuilt our whole relationship from the day that I had my aura transformation. We started again at ground zero, and we've built an amazingly beautiful relationship from then. And I remember saying to her a few weeks after my AT, she'd noticed within about 4 days, she put her hand on my cheek and was like, you've arrived, kind of feeling. And she spoke about aura transformation a lot for a number of years. She's a bit too cool about it now. But I remember sitting with her a few weeks after, and I just said, I would like to ask for forgiveness for any times I've not been present with you, or that I've not heard you, or that I haven't been the mum that I wish I could be, and that I will be from now on. And a little tear rolled down her eye, and she was just like, Mum, you were always forgiven. And so she always saw my spirit and my light more than I could. And I think she was just really pleased when I finally landed it. And she was like, well, finally, welcome. It took your time. So having an aura transformation is absolutely amazing for parents, because you are aligning your frequencies to theirs, and you're embodying your spirit energy in your body, so that you're like them, like the crystal children are really embodied, so that suddenly you can see each other. They really see you, rather than all the stuff in your aura and all the stuff in your energy and all the stuff that's happened to you all there in that old aura. They have to see you through that, and you have to see through that to them. And if you clear all that, then you are really spirit to spirit, having a relationship with your children, and it's a relief, and it's beautiful. And at the beginning, I went from that destructive party animal person, and people really saw the transformation, the shift in me. And I think that's a big reason why I've had a success with aura transformation, is because people have seen me shift. And maybe they didn't take me so seriously at the beginning, but I'm pretty sure that, it's obvious that something happened to me that really shifted my transformation from going quite fast to like massive transformation in a short period of time. So I think my passion and dedication towards this aura transformation has been natural, and just of pure passion and joy for what it does and what it brings. And I absolutely love teaching it. So teaching aura transformation for me, it's just like, when you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. When I'm like teaching on the aura mediator courses, it's just like, natural. It just comes out it's like I don't have to practice. So I kind of was made for this, and so I feel really honored to be carrying on Annie Senov's work, who sadly died about a month ago. So that's been really tough, I think, and it's shaken our aura transformation world up, but it's also really inspired me and made me feel really passionate about carrying on the amazingness of this work. I'm sure I left some loose ends there. Oh, well, just that when you have an aura transformation, the crystal aura is like 1,000,000 times more protective than the old aura, certainly if yours is so weak that it's not actually there. And you don't have to build an aura, you don't have to do all this work every day to fix it. So that there was definitely just way more protection, and it was obvious instantly. Also, all this PTSD, trauma, anger, lack, inability to forgive is really shifted. Like within a week, I was able to genuinely let go of this, the hurt, and genuinely forgive people to set them free for myself, not for them. And it made a huge difference in that part of the healing journey. And yeah, very powerful. I mean, when you have the aura transformation, your spirit energy is coming into your body. Your heart chakra is expanding massively, and you're clearing away all of this stuff that you've carried around you, so that it gives you a much wider perspective on your story, why things happen, why certain other people behaved in the way they behaved. It also almost makes you feel that you're looking at your own stories and what's happened in your life from a higher perspective. And with the bigger heart energy, it means that you can really find within yourself the space and the bigness to be able to forgive. So to see the story and to forgive is a huge letting go of things that just hold you back and that make you feel rubbish. I could go on for hours, but I'm going to try and come off soon because it's a long time otherwise. I think that's pretty much all I was going to say. So just in the spirit of being, like, all my colleagues who are doing the visibility challenge are posting their videos, so I thought I should do one too, and it's been a while since I came on. And there's quite a lot going on in my world of moving around a lot, which is actually quite a challenge. Like, if some of you had been following my story, I started a world tour, and so I did like Vancouver, which was amazing, and then I'm still kind of in England at the moment, and then I'm looking to move to meet my to live in Edinburgh so I can be with my daughter permanently. And yeah, so it's been a challenging but very interesting journey. Like, you really have to learn your self-practice and look after yourself when you're moving around so much, and really learn how to anchor in your mission, like, week by week, and keep sticking to it. So it's been interesting. I'm still doing all my online kinesiology clients. Like, a lot of them are working with me one-to-one, and they are, I mean, we're doing such amazing work. I mean, I wish I could write about it every week, but that would be, not very against confidentiality. But, we're working really deeply into ancient ancestral cellular memory. We're looking into the traumas. I've been helping one woman get through her PhD and to the finish line, and then remaking herself after all that. I work with people that have had deep heartbreak, or their energies are stuck to the wrong kind of people, and we do a heart retrieval. So it's just been like, my weeks are filled with these amazing experiences, and just knowing I'm doing exactly what I should be doing. So there's all that goes on with my kinesiology practice, and then there's all of my passion that's like behind Aura Transformation and the Aura Mediator courses. The next one is in September in the UK, 16th to the 10th to the 16th of September. So there's still places there, and hoping to organize another Canadian trip in October. And I might be in Galicia in October as well. So the tour continues and the work continues. But if you'd like to know any more about what I'm up to, just do get in touch. And I have one-to-one work, but we can do one-off sessions. There's packages. There's Aura Transformation. There's all that kind of thing. So it's been really nice to come on, actually. I do enjoy it. Lots of love to everyone, and take care.